All human beings agree that audio is the most important part of video. However, to my everlasting shame, I'm not an audio guy, not really. I know some stuff, I understand the basic principles, I've watched plenty of videos about it. I've gotten my audio to be good enough for YouTube, and then I just sort of left it there. And that worked for a while, but now I can hear it. The audio you're listening to right now, I can hear that it's just not really good enough. There's too much reverb, the compression makes it sound goofy, you can hear the air conditioner noise. I just want it to be better. I don't want to sound like this anymore. And miraculously, I got a random DM on Twitter from Randy Rektor, who has a great YouTube channel about pro audio stuff. Anyway, Randy mentioned that he's been following my channel for a while, which makes sense because my channel's amazing. And he asked if I might ever want to do an audio-related collaboration with him sometime. Well, Randy, I got your collab right here. Let's fix my stupid audio.
Hey James, took a listen through a good handful of your most recent videos, and I've come up with 4 tips that I think will really improve your audio. The first 3 have to do with the background noises in your space, and the 4th is just a little bonus tip. Okay, let's jump into the first example here, and let's pay special attention to the room noise.
You want to know how to instantly trigger a YouTube creator in just 3 words? Leave a comment that says video starts at blank.
Okay, so there are 2 properties to take into consideration with the microphones that you have on hand. One is polar pattern, and supercardioid microphones or shotgun microphones like your Rode VideoMic, those have significant blind spots on them, so we can actually utilize these blind spots to our advantage to help eliminate background noises. Lavalier microphones, on the other hand, because they're omnidirectional, they actually don't have any blind spots. The second thing to consider is the proximity effect. So as we get further and further away from a microphone, we start to lose low end, and this property doesn't actually affect lavalier microphones because they're omnidirectional. So even though you've got them, under your shirt really close to your mouth, they still tend to pick up a lot of ambient low-end noises from things like your air conditioner, your refrigerator, traffic outside, and that sort of thing. The quick solution would be to get your Rode VideoMic as close as you can to the source. So I'd recommend booming it in about 6 to 8 inches in front of your mouth just out of frame. And this should help because it'll have more rejection and less noise right from the get-go. And with it being out of frame, it won't interrupt your talking head shots at all.
Okay, some quick context. I have 2 microphones, a Rode VideoMic and a lavalier mic. I typically tape the lav mic under my shirt because I don't really like the clip-on lav look. And then I have the lav going into an H1N recorder. Then I stick the video mic on my camera just as a backup in case the lav fails. I know it's not going to be great quality, but it's convenient, and in a pinch I can clean it up enough to be usable if I have to. Now, quick confession time, I don't have a cool light setup. I just have these super cheap soft boxes with light bulbs in them. But the good news is that the set I got came with an overhead rim light on a boom, which I don't ever really use because I've got a dumb ceiling fan in the middle of my office blocking anywhere I might put it, and also because I don't need a whole lot of extra shine around here, That means I can use the boom arm from the rim light to mount the video mic. And now, of course, the video mic cable doesn't reach the camera. I tried running a really long aux cable from the mic to the camera, but that went badly. There was a bunch of junk noise in the audio. Maybe I did something wrong, maybe it was a bad cable, but for now I'm going to use these Rode transmitters that I happen to have. And of course there's nowhere to mount the transmitter, so I solved this problem the way so many problems with video production get solved, with gaff tape. Then I stick the receiver on the camera and we're good to go. So what do you think? Is this better? Here's what I sound like with the lav mic taped under my shirt, and here's what I sound like on the video mic that's boomed right out of frame here. There's still some unfortunate background noise because I live in Arizona, so if I turn off the air conditioner, I'll literally die. But even with the AC going, I have to imagine this sounds a little better, right?
All right, let's take a listen to example number 2.
I recently got a question about video resolution, video frame rates, and video bit rates, as well as the relationships between them. So I thought I'd make a little explainer video to help.
In this clip, I'm hearing a tiny bit of what we'd call pumping or breathing coming from your lavalier microphone. This typically happens when you have a compressor or a limiter in the recording chain. What's happening is if you trigger that compressor or the limiter, it's turning on and basically bringing all the levels down, including the surrounding room noise. And I'll demonstrate here, but when the limiter turns off, you hear that room noise come back up. So that's where you get that pumping and breathing in your audio. The simple solution for this, I'd recommend just turning down your levels a little bit on set. Typically you want to come in between -12 and -6 dB, and you really only want to trigger a limiter in extreme cases, things like unexpected laughter or a door slamming, something that's out of your control. And then in post, we can remove the frequencies that we don't want first, and then use dynamics processing to bring the levels up. And that's gonna make sure that we're not bringing up unwanted frequencies as much as possible. This should really reduce a lot of that pumping and breathing, and it'll make your edits a lot easier in post.
Well, Randy, you nailed that one. After I ruined a whole episode because the levels were too high and I was clipping, I thought I was being clever by turning on the limiter feature of the Zoom H1n that I was recording into, thinking that would just eliminate the clipping. So following Randy's advice, I'm going to turn the limiter off on the H1n, which I'm not using for backup audio anyway, and I'm going to check the gain throughout the recording chain just to make sure I'm coming in mostly between -12 and -6 dB. How does this sound? Is it better? Even if it's just backup audio, I still want it to sound good. Okay, Randy, what's next?
Okay, let's take a listen to clip number 3. This is with your Rode VideoMic mounted to your camera.
I recently got a question about video resolution, video frame rates, and video bit rates, as well as the relationships between them. So I thought I'd make a...
So you can hear some of the sound bouncing around the room. This is actually a really simple fix. I typically recommend just throwing up some more soft surfaces. One of the best solutions is just getting sofa cushions, taking them from your living room and plopping them up on the walls that are what we'd call like a direct reflection. So you don't have to go crazy with the whole space, but just the main walls that are a big issue are the ones that are in front of you and will be a direct reflection from your mouth to the microphone. So the direct reflections are a great place to start, and that will really improve your audio.
So I've already done a bunch of stuff in the office here to try to break up at least some of the reverb. Specifically, I put a bunch of pictures on the wall back here, which isn't as effective as acoustic tiles or anything, but it does at least help break up the sound waves a little bit. I also installed shelves back there and put a bunch of stuff on them, focusing on things that were either soft or irregularly shaped. I also got a couple little fake plants and even this awesome fuzzy sheepskin thing. I figured if furry stuff is good for microphones, maybe it's good for reverb as well. I also keep my office pretty messy most of the time, so everything that you can't see is a mess right now. I like to think that's an effective strategy for reducing reverb as well. However, I think that is the source of my biggest problem. The corner I'm speaking into is completely naked, and so it's basically a perfect right angle, and all the sound going into it shoots right back out toward the microphone. Obviously, using a shotgun mic on a boom should help with that a lot, but I'm still going to want to do something with this corner. I've got some moving blankets, so I'm going to see if I can get those mounted up on the wall here, and then I'm also going to grab a couple cushions or pillows like Randy recommended. This should be better, right? How does this sound? Are we good? Do we still have too much reverb?
Okay, let's take a listen to the last clip here, clip number 4.
I'm actually going to take you along with me and we're going to go do some testing. Didn't take me long to hit the first obstacle of the day.
Okay, I don't know if you can hear that, but the voice is actually coming a little bit more out of the right side than it is the left. This can happen for a number of reasons. Sometimes when you record a safety channel, it'll record the left louder and the right quieter, which basically makes it feel like it's coming from the left side. In this case, it may have been coming from a cell phone. Sometimes these will record in stereo, so it's something to take into consideration, but generally speaking, a good practice is to have the dialogue centered. So a quick solution for this, what we can do is in Premiere, we can go to our audio track and simply just look to see which one has the majority of the audio. In this case, it's the right channel. Then what we're gonna do is right-click the audio file, select audio channels, and we're gonna change both sides to output the exact same audio channel. So equal signals in our left and our right side basically trick our brain into thinking that it's mono. Hope this helps, James.
That is a great tip. I edited that one using mostly my computer speakers instead of headphones, so I didn't realize how much it was leaning to one side. I guess it's because I had my phone mounted to my dash, and from that perspective, my voice was coming from the right side of the phone. I will definitely try this next time. Dude, Randy, this was awesome. I just listened back to some of the audio I just recorded, and it's sounding a lot better. And for those watching, I hope this gave you some ideas for how to improve the audio in your own videos, and I really recommend that you go check out Randy's channel. You can find the link in the description.